Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Corman, and today we are back with another video. I am bringing back the podcast series. This is the, I think, first podcast since, I want to say, March, I believe. So, let me go ahead, before we get in this podcast, I'm going to give some background info on what's been going on with me and what's everything going on with the channel. Am I going to continue the channel? There's been rumors that it's probably going to go down. I don't know if it is or not, but I, for the meantime, plan on keeping it up. As you've seen, I uploaded 4 Monster Hunter Online videos. Yes, that's a series I started. So far, it's been more successful than my other series that I've just had literally one video and then just epically failed. To this date, my most successful series is, I want to say, Corman's Picks, and that was when I was like doing PokeTubing still. So that one, if Monster Hunter Online passes that, then I think I'll officially be a Monster Hunter channel then, because right now it's just, my channel really has no, how do I put it, identity. See, most people go and find YouTube channels and then pick them because they have a certain identity, and I don't think mine really has one, other than the fact that it's just, I don't know, a central hub to where my friends come and watch what I'm doing, they come and hear my thoughts and all that. So I don't know if the channel's going to stay up. I really don't. As you all know, the channel started when I was a sophomore, and I'm now a freshman in college. So it's been around for a while. I feel like the channel has great history. I look back at it and I see so many good memories. I see a lot of tough memories too, and maybe one day I'll do a flashback and give my thoughts on what was going on during a certain time period. But for now, I got to just focus on the podcast and tell you guys what's been going on. So, yes, uploads actually have been more scheduled as of now, but I'm just uploading whenever I feel like I should upload. If I'm not worried about, oh, this video, what if I say it's going to start as a series and I just don't finish it? I'm just going with the flow. That's what I've been doing with Monster Hunter Online. I feel like I want to record a hunt, I record a hunt, and I upload it. That's been my way of uploading more consistently. Now, don't expect any Monster Hunter Online videos this weekend because the English patch is currently under heavy development, and the Chinese really don't want us to play online, so they have gone to a really heavy extent to make patching it really hard now. So the process of updating it is going to be very hard for this next one, so it probably will be a little bit before I have another Monster Hunter Online video. But that's okay, because I am going to record 2 podcast videos today. The one you see about the title right now, and maybe a special bonus one later. But I think that covers what I wanted to say before I got into this point. So without further ado, let's hop into the podcast. So, like I said, the last video I did was, actually, it wasn't in March, it was in the E3 podcast. So that was the last podcast I did. I don't know if it was by myself or with Noah, but since that video, I feel like there's just been sort of a downhill slide. And no, don't get me wrong, Smash 2018 is probably going to be the best part of the year. But, oh, excuse me, I got a cough. But the huge thing I'm seeing since that E3 has just been bad luck after bad luck after bad luck after, what do you name it, okay? So, I'm talking on this on more of Nintendo's side. I'm going to name the title of this video, I don't know it yet, I'm just making this podcast on the fly, but I'm going to name it something along of, did Nintendo mess up 2018? Now, this question has raised controversy in the on the Nintendo fan side. Sony fans are enjoying it by throwing it at us constantly, but you know what? We're not going to worry about them. We're going to deal with the issues going on in our fan base. So, we have 2018 Smash Ultimate is literally the only thing that came out of that direct, other than a few indie titles. And we are just basically in a we were in a drought from January to March, because I do remember that from the podcast at the beginning of this year when I started doing the podcast. I remember saying we were in a drought thanks to Nintendo doing some idiotic stuff with the eShop. Now, before then, I didn't know what it was. Now, I know what it is. So I'm going to get into this first point on why I think Nintendo failed 2018. Yes, I do think 2018 was a huge failure. No doubt about that. So here are my points why, and I will tell, maybe at the end of this video, I'll give a synopsis on how Nintendo can fix it. But I gotta tell you guys, this doesn't look good. So let me get into my first point. The first thing I want to cover about what Nintendo did wrong in 2018. And this was a trend coming at the end of 2017. You started seeing it. Nobody thought it'd be an issue, but it turned out it was. The biggest thing wrong Nintendo did this year, you're going to sound shocked that I say this, was letting indie games flood the eShop and treating indie games on the same levels of quality AAA support and quality first-party titles. Now you're going to ask, well, Corman, what's so wrong about that? That's more games for us to play. I'll get to that in a minute. The biggest problem with them doing that is we're having, I want to say, 20, it scaled up since the beginning of the year, and now it's at like 20 per week. So I think at the beginning of 2018, we were getting maybe 5, 10 indie games a week. A lot of them were okay. They weren't shovelware as some of these are right now, but we were only getting like 5 to 10 indies a week. That's not bad. It was scaling at an astronomical rate past E3, but that wasn't too bad. Another thing, whenever it started advancing forward with these indies, it started turning into 12 indie games per week. It turned into 15 indie games per week, and now here we are. It is it may be October when I upload this. I don't know. It is currently September 28th, and we are getting on average 20 indie games per week. And I'm not talking about indie games with the caliber of Undertale or Hollow Knight or Dead Cells. I'm talking about shovelware titles you'd see at the bottom of the barrel in Steam. That's unacceptable. Also, my bottom feeder in the background trying to jump out of the aquarium. What are you doing, Plucky? Anyway, that's just unacceptable. You can't release 20 shovelware products in 1 week. That's absurd. Now, everyone's going to be like, oh, well, we can hold Nintendo accountable for this, right? Yes, we can. We can hold them accountable with the power of our dollar. But you want to know where this falls in fault of? It falls in the fault of Nintendo fans. Why? Because you guys aren't going to invest in these higher quality titles that come out because, oh, I just don't feel like it. So we're kind of hypocritical in that sense because we're begging for all these third-party support titles to come to us, but we don't give them the time of day, and we go for the crap quality product that's cheaper just because of money. I think that's disrespectful in a sense, and that's probably why. Oh, do you really want to give Capcom more reasons to not support us? You want to give Bandai Namco more reasons to not support us? You want to give Square Enix, although Octopath Traveler was a great game, that was one of the few highlights this year, I'll give Nintendo that. You really want to give Square Enix more reasons? We can't shoot ourselves in the foot like that. We're hypocrites if we complain about not having third-party support, but then go and do this. We let these shovelware titles come onto the eShop, and we don't hold Nintendo accountable for it. And I feel like some of these Nintendo YouTubers, I'm not going to name one that I'm subscribed to, they let this happen. It's not a word. They let this happen. This is Nintendo looking at us, seeing our complacency, and just saying, okay, the fans are okay with it. Let's just go ahead and upload it in. Why not? We let that happen, and Nintendo sees that, and our eShop is flooded with indie games. I can't tell you how bad the eShop is right now. I can't tell you in words, but I can tell you if you pull up your Switch, if you guys have one with you, I'm pretty sure you do. I'm pretty sure Nintendo fans are watching this video. I implore you to open up your Switch, and I want you to look at the main page of the eShop. I want you to count how many indie games are there to third parties, and I want you to count how many of those games are of the shovelware quality. Now, you're going to say, oh, but how can you tell if it's shovelware or not? Trust me, you'll be able to tell just by looking at the game, by looking at how the quality of it, by some of the pictures in the trailers, and just by looking at the descriptions. It's very easy to tell when a game is shovelware. Now, this issue can be fixed. I have a more extreme view of it, as one of my friends would say, but there are different ways to go about it. The most ethical sense of going after these shovelware titles is by making a separate tab for indie games. Make a separate tab for indie games, and that way we make it to where it's not flooding the eShop, and the more quality titles that took time to make, and not a one-man show, they're on the front page. Instead, they have the featured deals of people. If people want to check out the indie games, okay, that's cool. Go check out the indie games. Don't get in the way of where the actual business is going on. That's my thing. Now, you're probably going to say, oh, you're being too harsh on these indie developers. What if you wanted to go into game making? Honestly, in an industry that's becoming heavily controversial and Sony's starting to make moves on everyone, it may not be worth going into the indie field, honestly. It may just be worth trying to bring your talents to the actual big name companies like the Sonys of the world, Microsofts of the world. Oh, yeah, Microsoft definitely needs some of that. The Nintendos of the world probably not going to get as lucky. They can survive just on their first parties alone, but I feel like indie games, they bring a bad narrative to the gaming field. And we'll get into that in a little. So you need a separate tab for them so they don't interfere with the third-party titles. So they don't interfere with titles like Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, Hollow Knight. You want to know how long Hollow Knight sat as the #1 title over Generations Ultimate? It sat over it for the entire time it was out. That doesn't bode well. Remember how Noah and I were always going on about, oh, we need to give Capcom a reason to stay with Nintendo. We need to if Generations Ultimate comes out, which I said in the podcast before, I didn't think it was going to come out at all. It turns out, because I thought we were going to get just another game in total because of that Monster Hunter leak with the Portable 5 leak and all that. But that's a different topic. You can go back and watch that podcast. But the problem is, you have indie games sitting over these titles that took time to make. Generations Ultimate is a $59. It shouldn't be $50. It shouldn't be $59.99. I still think it should be $40. But it's on average after tax, it's a $60 game. Hollow Knight, I want to say, is a $20 game, $15 to $20 game. I may not know the official price on it. It's a $15 to $20 entrepreneur rewards game that takes from a style that's already been done in Metroid. So everyone claims it's unique and it's special and it does something completely brand new, even though it was done, again, 20 years ago. I'm starting to notice something with these indie games and their fan bases about this whole, it's so unique and original, yet it was done like 20 years ago. Same thing with Undertale and Earthbound, except it wasn't 20, it was more of just like 15. But Hollow Knight can't be sitting above Generations Ultimate. If I'm a Monster Hunter fan, that scares me and that disgusts me. That Generations Ultimate, the Nintendo fans, after complaining for so much about how Capcom left us out, We don't do anything about it. We buy Hollow Knight instead because, oh, it's cheaper. I don't want to invest in the future. I don't want to buy Generations Ultimate and give Capcom a reason to keep Monster Hunter away from Sony. You know, after all that complaining I did back in E3, you guys are hypocrites. So, the solution? Make an indie games tab. I will give my solution here. This is going to be controversial. One of my friends already knows what I'm about to say. The only way to fix this, to me personally, and to make the eShop go from 0 to hero, you need to have stricter regulations on these indie games. Meaning you need to purge most of them that are on the eShop right now. You need to get rid of all the shovelware. You need to get rid of all the games that claim their way to fame just by being worked on and because of their fan base. You need to purge half of the crap on the eShop. You do that, there you go. Now you say, "Oh, Corey, that's so harsh of you. How dare you? These people took their time and effort to make these indie games." Okay, please tell me how long it took to make, let's see, Chicken Bomb. That's a game on there. How long did it take to make When the Bomb Explodes? How long did it take to make Polygon Simulator? You have a better time of saying, "Oh, well, there's still Hollow Knight, there's still Dead Cells, there's still Overcooked too." I don't even know how that one got up there. There's still all these other indie games that you can go and play. Okay, I can only say this to you guys. Whenever you have, let's say, it's 3 to 20, and half the time, those 3 indie games that come out only come out like every, 3 months? And I think Hollow Knight and Dead Cells came out 1 month from each other. You can't have that. You're going to fail going forward. There is no ands, ifs, or buts. There's no debate about it. I really hate when Nintendo YouTubers try to act like this is something to laugh at, that it's something to, we can just brush it off. Look at how Steam handles their indie games. Steam doesn't put them in the front of the freaking featured page like Nintendo does. You have to go looking for the indie games. Now, sometimes if they have an indie sale, they'll be on the front. But every week they have a AAA third-party developer on sale that week. Nintendo doesn't. Instead, Nintendo puts indie games on sale instead of their demanded titles that would sell them more units of their titles, that would bring them more in of a revenue. They don't do that. They let these indie games flood the market, and they put them on sale. And they even give 2 Nintendo Directs to them. There were 2 Nindy Directs given to these things, half of which looked garbage and unplayable. Sorry, that's my chair. So, like I said, this is the most important part of the video. I'm going to spend the most time on it. The others you're going to not see so much. But yes, this has been a huge issue for them. Horrible management of the eShop. Horrible management of how indie games were made. It's turning into a joke. And the only way you're going to fix it is if you give most of these indie games the boot. Yeah, you're sacrificing titles like Hollow Knight. You're sacrificing titles like Dead Cells and Overcooked 2. But you know what? The lifespan of the Switch is more worth it than having 3 good games on your system. Like, if I was Furukawa, who's the new executive right now, I don't really think so highly of him out of his business decisions. But if I'm Furukawa and he wants to get back to being popular or be the most popular president to me, he needs to fix this. Because if the crap with the indie games isn't fixed, guys, I'm telling you, there's no hope for the eShop. Good luck getting a sale on a good game. Yeah, Breath of the Wild will go on sale every 8 months? So it will probably go on sale only 1 time a year. Think about that. Breath of the Wild going on sale one time a year. It will still be priced at $60 in 2020. This is why Sony beats the crap out of us, because we have issues like this. You can get half of these shovelware titles on Sony for free with their stupid PSN Network Plus. With Nintendo Switch Online, which we'll get into that in a minute, you don't get any of these indie trash shovelware titles at all. So, 20 minutes on the first point. It's the most important point. The eShop needs to be fixed. That's all I can say. So, now that that's out of the way, I can get into my second point, and then I will probably make a wrap-up, because there's only really two big things that did them this year, because I feel like I've already covered the first point in the earlier podcast before I went on that long hiatus, and that was Nintendo just going on that drought, giving us the mini direct, and then failing to capitalize. They gave us Kirby All-Star Allies, and Sony walloped us with World. They walloped us with, I almost said Horizon Zero Dawn. There were other games they released during that time period that basically beat us out big time. And we didn't have a first-party title until Kirby All-Star Allies, and that was a mistake. And the one big title, or the two big titles that were announced during that mini direct, got delayed. Dark Souls isn't even coming out. Think about this. Dark Souls came out and was announced in January. It's coming out in November. Sony, PC, and Microsoft, or basically the same thing. Sony, PC, and Xbox, they already have the game. The game's theirs. We're getting a lower quality version of that game. It's been confirmed. We're getting it at 30 frames per second. We're getting that game, but later. You think we'd get it earlier with the fact that it's only being 30 frames per second, but nope, that's not the case. So that mini direct, I already covered it. I said it before, and I think it was I don't remember what podcast. I think it was the podcast before the E3 hype video, but it was just a disaster. And we're still feeling the effects of it. Especially now. Now I can get into my second point. That was just a quick recap. That wasn't officially the second point. This is the second point. Also, during that same E3, Nintendo showed off Nintendo Switch Online. In a podcast, I said that if this was mismanaged, this would potentially cut the Switch's lifespan in half, effectively, if it was handled poorly. Still think it to this day. Guys, I gotta tell you, after seeing some of the stuff that happened with Nintendo Switch Online, the biggest defense for it is that it's $20 and therefore you should buy it. But let me tell you what Nintendo did with this. This is where it falls on Nintendo. It's not on the fans. It's Nintendo. They give us a crap product. You can't back up your save data on almost all of the first-party games. You can only back it up on Breath of the Wild and Odyssey. Now that's going to be their biggest defense for it, is that you can save your backup data on the two biggest IPs in 2017. What about the third biggest IP in Splatoon 2? You can't back up your 700 hours of save data in Splatoon 2? Or Pokemon Let's Go that's coming out? You can't back up your save data there? Oh my. On top of that, they give us the NES Nintendo Switch Online service where you have that streamable game service for about a month. We still don't know the official on it because it only came out 2 weeks ago. But they released that, and guess what? Remember what I said I was afraid of that? You wouldn't be able to keep the games forever? You don't get to keep the games forever. It's on a basically Netflix-style streaming software where you have to click on the game and you just starts up. Now everyone's going to be like, oh, that's okay. It's NES games. They're not even that long. And this is where we get into this issue of what if it isn't NES games? What if this is still in place for SNES games? What if this is still in place for GameCube games? We don't even know. Okay, forget that. We don't even know if we're getting anything past the NES. And Nintendo, as mentioned before in these podcasts before this year, doesn't have a virtual console. So you have no virtual console, and your virtual console or your lackluster replacement for it is garbage. On top of that, Furukawa, you decided to go after all of these emulator and ROM sites, so now there's going to be no way to play these games. Oh, well, you can just go buy a copy of it on eBay for like $100, because that's what some of these games are selling for now, these old classic titles. This is embarrassing. This is akin to what Sony would do. And Nintendo, I'm holding you accountable for this. I've defended you so many times from these people. I've done all this. I'm a very frustrated fan right now. And I'm not the only frustrated one. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Outside from that, the Nintendo Switch Online also will delete all of your cloud save data if you forget to check in. Do you want to know what a check-in is? You have to literally log into your Switch every X amount of days. I forgot, maybe a week. So Nintendo's basically forcing you to remember to turn on your Switch, otherwise your cloud save data is fricked. That's what they're saying. They're going to delete your cloud save data. Guys, I don't know if you saw this or not, but whenever they showed the release trailer for the Nintendo Switch Online, it was 8K likes to 40K dislikes. You want to know the last product that had that like to dislike ratio? I'll give you a hint. It rhymes with PU. Now, the Nintendo Switch, here's where the good thing about both these issues happens. The situation with the indie games and the situation with online. These issues can be fixed. It's going to take work, but they can be fixed. The biggest way to fix online, and I gave both my reasoning on how to fix the indie and the all that stuff, but there's only really one way to fix online. There's no controversial way of doing it because pretty much everyone knows this is bad, or at least the general Nintendo fan knows it's bad. You think they know it's bad? They'd be able to figure out the crap with the indie games. Guess not. Nintendo will change the service. If Furukawa loves his job, he will have a business meeting, and he will say, okay, we need to change this. This isn't going to work. We're going to get destroyed by our competitors because they're going to beat us with a more expensive online service because they have more features than we do. Actually, scratch that. They have better features. Even people are saying, with our $20 product, it's not even worth it. That's what it's getting to. Also, we don't even know how good this online service is yet. The biggest test is going to be Smash Ultimate. That's going to be the biggest test because if you guys remember from Smash 4, Smash 4's online experience was garbage. Every game you would enter was lag. Now that's partially because Sakurai didn't spend enough time optimizing the online feature. I really hope he's doing that instead. I think he is. That's why I don't think we're going to get many more character reveals. I may talk about that in another video. But we are in an instance where this online service, if it doesn't fix what Ultimate did, or what Ultimate, oh goodness, what 4 did, the online service is done. The Switch's lifespan would have gotten cut in half solely because of this mistake. Just like that. Snapping my fingers. So that has been the two biggest issues plaguing Nintendo. The issues being of droughts, indie games overwhelming the actual good games that came out this year, and this online service. That's been the biggest thing. Now, Nintendo, I think it's obvious that they're limping to the end of this year. If you've seen the September Direct with Animal Crossing coming out in 2019, Luigi's Mansion 3 coming out in 2019, that was a bomb they dropped at the beginning of the video. So it's obvious that 2018, they're limping at the end of it. They know this year's just been a disaster. They had the horrible mini direct to start it and let everyone down there. They had a drought for about 3 months. All their first party titles were kind of average. Aces, average. Kirby Star Allies, average. There was nothing exceptional this year. They were relying on the success of 2017 games. So they still had to bank on Splatoon 2 to save them, even though the numbers of that game are starting to dwindle. And guess what? October is the month where we get one last new stage. So it's the Splatoon 2's lifespan is definitely at its end. We'll put it that way. Now, whether or not they're going to add in a new weapons, new stuff for Salmon Run. I was kind of disappointed they didn't add in a lot of stuff with Salmon Run, but you know what? You can't get what you want every time. So we have all of that, and they're banking on successes of their 27 IPs. They've gone completely lazy. They're limping to the end, and they're banking on 2019. And that's what this video is going to boil down to. You can fix your eShop. If you can't fix your eShop, and you can't fix your online, there's not a single game that's going to save you in 2019. There's not a single game that's going to save you in 2020. There's not a single game that's going to save you in 2021. And the Switch will literally be what the haters say about it. It will be with a Wii U 2.0. Do you want that, Nintendo? Do you want what Iwata basically fought against, and he spent his last few years of his life trying to erase? Because you have to take Sony business practices. The thing I prided you with, that you were consumer friendly, and you absolutely screw it right there. Are you going to be the next Sony, Nintendo? Don't let your successes cloud your judgment. Anyway, the big thing here is, yes, I think they're going to fix it in 2019. We've held them accountable on the online service at least. The indie game service, still think there's a lot of idiots who are uneducated in that field. Don't really know how the eShop works, why it's bad that we have 20 of these titles coming out a week. But the big thing is I feel like it will be fixed. I think Ultimate, judging by how these handle these last character selections, that, like I said, that's going to be for another video. Judging on how they handle these last character selections, I think it's going to be the best Smash game they ever put in. That's ever in the series. Sorry, Melee fans. It's just, you guys had your run. I think Ultimate is going to be Melee, but better, essentially. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think 2018, the end of 2018, they're going to have a great start. Ultimate will be, I think it will sell 20 million units in 1 month. It would not surprise me if Ultimate sold 20 million units in the holiday season. So, I think we are going to see a great surge for Nintendo in 2018. I want to see them surge. I want to completely forget this year happened with them. Compared to 2018 to 2017 and to 2018, I probably touched my Switch and played it 100 times less than I did in 2017. Now, whether that be the fault because I have a gaming PC now, that's up for debate. We'll find out. It's kind of hard to tell because I've enjoying my PC this year. I love Ark. I love Doom on PC. I love I was about to say something really heathenistic right there. I love Fallout 4. I love all these games. I can play these games and not have to worry about Nintendo botching it. But I don't want it to be like that way. I don't want to have to rely on something else if Nintendo botches it. But if they don't fix these issues, guys, prepare, as much as I hate to say it, prepare for Wii U 2.0. That's my ending statement here. I think that's a good spot to end the video because we're approaching 35 minutes and I'm going to have to give a closing statement. So yeah. I hope this video was a entertaining one. I tried to get really passionate on subjects like this because I do feel like they're important. I feel like Nintendo, they just have one good thing goes for them. They're able to just wipe it out like that. That's what they can always do, and it's very scary that this is a thing. Yeah, they have titles like Animal Crossing, Metroid Prime 4. I believe we're gonna get next year. Animal Crossing we're getting next year. The new Pokemon game, God help us, let that be something not akin to these past few generations. I think we're getting a new game on that. Whether it be good or not is if Junichi Masuda steps down. Yeah, we have all these things going forward, and I think 2019 will be all right for Nintendo. Generally do think that. 2018 is going to hurt, but we will recover. So yeah. Anyway, guys, that was the podcast video for today. I may make another one, 2 for this weekend, so to make up for the lack of Monster Hunter Online videos. I'm curious, do you guys like Monster Hunter the online videos? I'm trying to record it in equality. I'm recording it off my gaming PC. I think OBS sucks because what you guys are seeing on the screen is nothing to what I'm seeing. I'm seeing the game run at a full 60 frames per second and run at 1080p, whereas the one on OBS just dips in quality. But here's the thing, it doesn't decrease in performance for me. That's what's weird. So I really don't know what to say about that. Well, I'm probably going to try and have something playing in the background so you guys just aren't looking at like a picture of Garuga again. I may have some gameplay of, I don't know, Doom, maybe Left 4 Dead 2, something along the lines of that. But in the meantime, I'll just let you guys think of what the opinion you want yourself. This has been another podcast video. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.